House, please come to order. Honorable authorities, keynote speakers, honorable members of the Secretariat, President and Co-President of the International Court of Justice, fellow officers, delegates, MUN directors, distinguished and respected guests, indispensable members of staff, press and security, good afternoon. I'm Sara Torrisi, and today I will serve as mistress of the opening ceremony. Needless to say, I'm deeply honored to welcome you all to the official opening ceremony of the 24th annual session of General Model United Nations, titled Generation Next. With no further indulgence, I would like to officially start today's opening ceremony. It is my pleasure to give the floor to the distinguished Consigliere Barbara Grosso. Ms. Barbara Grosso, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon to all of you. With great pleasure, I greet you all. I would like to thank you, the organizer, of the kind invitation to join this opening ceremony of this new edition of GeMUN. We are linked by the common goal of sharing and developing our ideas on such an important issues as Generation Next. This is an important dialogue between young people from different countries, traditions, and cultures. And it's an opportunity to make ideas and opportunities concrete and develop them into a framework. I want to thank you one by one, guys. You have chosen to continue your extracurricular activity, so important for your school preparation, but also, and above all, for you as a human being. You got involved, and for this I respect you. I also want to thank your teachers who have been able to convey the values of commitment and the desire to build something beautiful. I wish you good work, guys. Keep on studying, because we need your knowledge. Get excited, because we need your energy, because only through debate and exchange, our ideas can be in civility or war be destroyed, and the civilization of the world of people be built. Thank you very much, and good luck.
Thank you, Ms. Grosso. It is now my pleasure to give the floor to Assessore alle politiche dell'istruzione, Ms. Marta Brusoni. You have the floor.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Municipality Assessor for Personal Educational Policies, Civic Services and Information Technology, I am delighted to welcome you all to the 21st edition of this conference. I extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you. I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate and express my gratitude to the entire MUN staff and the MUN directors and the city of Genoa for making these possible events. Young people, and you are young people today, are not only the leaders of tomorrow, but also the architects of the future. Take this opportunity to engage the construction of a good dialogue, to exchange ideas and to forge partnerships that will propel you towards a great future. Together, let us build a world where every young person can realize your common good. Genoa recognizes that your voices, your ideas, and your energy are important. And so thank you. Thank you for a world that can be green, because green for the young people and for you is a great concept. So thank you for your commitment to make a difference and make this conference be the beginning of a positive change for our future. So grazie a tutti.
Thank you, Ms. Brusoni. I now would like to give the floor to the distinguished youth mayor of Genoa City Council, Benedetto Pesce Maineri. Mr. Maineri, the floor is yours.
Honorable members of the Secretariat, guests and delegates, I am Benedetto Pesce Maineri and I have the honor of representing the Genoese youth as youth mayor. I would like to begin by spending a few words on the importance of what you're doing here today. Discussing key topics which affect today's world is a fundamental right and duty which allows us to have opinions, be informed, and take action to defend what we believe in. Seeing the young generation engaged in shaping the future is truly wonderful and makes me have hope for our future. This year you are discussing issues related to the topic Generation Next. As you embark on this conference, it is crucial to acknowledge the profound impact of these challenges on the lives of young people around the globe. From economic inequality and social injustice to environmental degradation and climate change. The youth are inheriting a world that is grappling with complex and interconnected issues that threaten the well-being of present and future generations. As delegate of the GeMUN conference, I urge you to approach the discussion with empathy, determination, and a sense of shared responsibility. It is through conferences like the GeMUN that we can empower our future leaders to engage in meaningful discourse and contribute to the positive change on a global scale. Let us remember the immense potential that lies within each one of us to effect positive change. Every day I get to work for our city, and one of my main goals is that of making sure that here in Genoa, everyone is respected and able to enjoy the fullest their rights and freedoms. Improving living standards, rights, freedom, fighting inequalities, these are our goals, my goals and your goals, and the aims we should strive to achieve. As youth mayor, so I can definitely say that we share a common goal. GeMUN is for you and for the city a wonderful opportunity to be active citizens despite of our young age. So I invite you to ask yourself who you want to be and act as a consequence. We are the demonstration that the young generation want to be engaged and active, and we achieve great results. A great thanks to the GeMUN Secretariat for putting so much effort in organizing this conference, and a bigger one to all of you who are here today. I wish you all a wonderful GeMUN, and for those of you coming from abroad, a wonderful stay in Genoa. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Maineri. I now would like to give the floor to Dottoressa Giulia Tariello. Ms. Tariello, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much to the Secretariat, the Chair, the Secretary, to the organizers of the GeMUN, and to all the students that are gathered here today, and they committed in engaging in this wonderful experience that is the MUN. I prepared some slides for you so that you can keep the attention on, hopefully. So you can go on, thanks. I am Giulia Tariello, I'm 25 years old, and these slides, there are some icons of the things that I love to do or the things that I did that hopefully may inspire you to believe a little more in yourself. I am originally from Rome, where I studied my bachelor in political science, and then I moved to Milan to conclude my master in international relations, and I graduated this October. When I moved to Milan, I started to engage in many youth movements or associations. The one that is called MSOE, the Student Movement for the International Organization. I knew students like me. I knew fellow young people that wanted to be engaged and to be on the field and go beyond what they learned in university or high school. So we started to organize events, talk with consulate generals, to diplomats, to provide better knowledge of what is diplomacy. And then I did other experiences as internships in NGOs or in a consulate general in Cordoba, Argentina. But then I'm also a normal person that loves to go to hang out with friends, to take pictures, and of course, to travel a lot. You can go. Since this September, I've been selected with my colleague that you see in the picture, Lucas. He's from Slovakia, and we are the 2 European Union youth delegate to the United Nations. But last year, you can shift slide, thanks. I was selected by the COE, which is the Italian Society for the International Organization, as the Italian youth delegate to the UN. What is the Youth Delegate Program? Before telling a bit more about my experience. The Youth Delegate Program started, let's say, in 1995, when the General Assembly of the UN, of course, adopted a World Program of Action for Youth, a policy framework and guidelines for national actions and international proposals for government to strengthen the involvement of young people in international fora, as is, of course, the General Assembly of the United Nations. This call has then been reinforced by 19 resolutions at the United Nations. And this is an example of the importance of young people at the United Nations. Nowadays, the Youth Delegate Program is managed globally by UNDESA, which is the United Nations Department on Economic and Social Affairs, that coordinates the youth delegate programs of the countries that decided to implement the program nationally. As I said before, Italy's program is existing since, I think, 2016. So I am the 5th generation, maybe, of youth delegate. And what we do is engage with young people, because we represent young people. And how we do so? We meet students, as I'm doing today with all of you, in high schools, in university. We organize conferences, workshops to understand what the young people actually need, and of course then bring all these concerns, all the insights, all the issues that are most concerning to us to the United Nations. And we do so through interventions, to bilateral meetings with officials at the United Nations. I delivered a statement in the 3rd Committee of the UN, which is the one related to social development policies. And of course, in many other events and moments when you can see that how we call the non-young people or the adults actually want to engage with us. So, yes, you can, if it works, okay. So these are some pictures of the in-person activity. So we met this year the ambassador, the European Union ambassador to the United Nations. He really wanted to hear from us what we wanted to do, which were our priority themes, which were the things that we wanted to see at the United Nations, and not just, be a token, be a part of the tokenism that sometimes is seen in some institutions. Then, as the EU, we also have podcasts when we invite several other young people, and the podcast is called Who Rules the World? And the title may inspire you try to see who can actually rule the world. And since the guests are mostly young people, that's a bit of example that we can actually rule the world. But this is the great part of being a youth delegate, because the non-so-good part is working on a time zone. You can shift the slide. Thanks. Because, of course, imagine working from Milan with the delegation of the EU in New York. So sometimes we received emails like at 10 p.m., and you have, of course, to reply to those emails, otherwise the day will pass. And my most commitment this year is to coordinate the delegates from other European countries that, of course, are engaging in New York. You can shift slide. Thanks. But everything I do is moving around what I called my motto, which are the 3 E: educate, engagement, education, engagement, and empowerment. But what is the meaning of these 3 E? You can shift, I think. Yes. Education. What is education? I think it's basically what are we doing now, because it's meeting with young people to share knowledge, to share experience, to share insight. And that's because we need to understand what are the opportunities and what are the things that we want to see in our next future. I know that I am so happy to see many young people here, but not just the young people, also the non-young people, the professors, the adults. And that's the most important part, the intergenerational engagement that exists today, and not just today, I hope in every day of our future. And here comes the engagement part. Thanks. And of course, you see the pictures of me and my fellow delegates, just to give you an example of what we do to engage among each other. So engagement is being on the field, is have a goal and target that can lead to the right path, and is pretending to be on the table and speak to you and for all of your fellows of your generation and for the generation that will come tomorrow, and of course in the future. But how we can reach engagement, and here it comes again, the intergenerationality with your professors, with your parents, with all the people that you think that they are not listening to you, but you have to go to them and you have to tell them what you want to achieve in your next future, because I'm sure that they are going to listen. You just need to go for it and believe in what you want. And then here comes the empowerment. Because once we are educated of what are our needs and what are the actions that needs to be done to, of course, have a better future. I don't know. We know that to have a better environment, we don't have to pollute. But what is pollution? So we have to be educated about pollution, and then we have to ask to go to adults, to the governments, and be engaged with them, and just in this way we can be empowered. Shift slide, thanks. So here are a bit of some of the 3 E. So are interconnected, as I said before, and achieving them implies being one step closer to achieving the goals of the Agenda 2030 that I hope all of you know what it is. And by providing education and vocational training, because education is not just the formal one, but that's an informal kind of education that is as much as important as the school one, we can enhance the capabilities and competencies of young individuals, and we can be active participants of today's society. You can shift slide, thanks. So my priority themes, and that's I repeat, to maybe inspire you to find your own priority theme, are these SDGs I repeat, I hope all of you know what are the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals of the Agenda 2030 of the United Nations. And once again, I believe that all of these, the number 4, quality education, number 5, gender equality, 8, decent economic growth, and 10, reduce inequalities, are all interconnected. We don't know what are the inequalities if we are not educated, and how we can tackle inequalities if we don't tackle gender disparities. All of these need to be tackled and achieved all together without leaving no one behind and without taking into consideration all of the goals of the Agenda 2030. And of course, all of the other 12 of the goals are as much as important as this one, but these are the ones that are closer to my heart. So I invite all of you to find your own priority teams, because you can still do something. Also, if you believe that it's just one step among hundreds, but it's important to do one step just to achieve your own goal. Thanks. So what we can do to reshape the world. Just to sum up everything that we said now, I want to conclude by saying something that maybe you can think it's already taken for granted, but it's not. It's for you to believe that you can one day be me or be one of these amazing chair here, amazing secretariat that is here, or be one of your professors, being one of your politicians, or even the Secretary General of the United Nations. And that's because you just need to take that step and not just believing that it's not for you. Because I saw the tender to become the Italian youth delegate since I was in the first year of my bachelor. But I applied in my final year of my master. So it took me almost 5 years to realize that it was my turn and that I had to do that and I had to take that step. And I'm thankful that I did that. So I want to wish all of you to work amazingly in those days in the MUN. And this is just the first step, because here you can actually see what is to engage with your fellows, professors, and to be educated, engage with your peers, and be empowered so that you have more acknowledgement of what you can do. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tariello, for your inspiring speech. Before we continue with the ceremony, the whole Secretariat invites the House to observe a minute of silence to mourn and honor all the victims of all wars and social injustices around the world. Thank you. It is now my pleasure to give the floor to the Secretary General of GeMUN 2024, Matteo Marinucci. Mr. Secretary General, you have the floor.
Honorable MUN directors, fellow members of the Secretariat, dear officers, delegates and members of the International Court of Justice, respected authorities and keynote speakers, distinguished guests, hardworking members of staff, security and press, good afternoon. It is with immense pleasure that I welcome you to the 21st GeMUN session. After last year, I thought one would get used to seeing so many brilliant people gather around to reach a common objective, discussing and tackling modern-day issues. However, this is not the case, and seeing all of you together is truly exciting. The emotions this site inspires are wonderful, especially considering the journey that took us here, starting from last year. Knowing how exhausting it was to organize this, I want to profoundly thank every person that chimed in the organization. A special thank you obviously goes to my beloved MUN directors, Mr. Orlando and Mr. Rosada, and to the members of the Secretariat, Alessandra, Emma, Eleonora, Davide, Ajay, and Sara. The people that I have most closely worked with for the past months, sharing so many wonderful moments. This year, I, alongside the Secretariat, realized that we wanted the spotlight of GeMUN to shine on ourselves, the youth. We figured that nothing could be better than so many bright minds coming together to discuss and resolve issues that profoundly concern us. It is time for us to embrace our futures and stop being pushed around by others who pretend to be enlightened enough to just know what is best for us and for the generations to come. I believe that in each and any one of us resides the seed of change, and really hope that it will be nurtured by the topics we have chosen to discuss. The title for GeMUN 2024 is Generation Next, with our generation becoming the main star in this year's topics. Across every committee, we have ensured that what we are going to discuss will enable you to address the issues that affect us as young individuals and reimagine our responses to them, seeking innovative solutions. In a world that is getting older, I believe it is crucial for the youth to understand how the world currently operates and take initiative to change aspects that no longer contribute to our well-being and persistence. Therefore, I, along with the Secretariat and MUN directors, encourage GeMUN participants to contemplate what the youth can do to ensure a brighter future for themselves and the succeeding generations, adopting a more forward-thinking approach toward the future of humanity and the planet. Whilst I am so fortunate to stand here addressing you, hoping my words will resonate with you as I hope these conferences will, my mind and heart cannot help but dwell on all the people, young and old, suffering and dying around the world. It is extremely painful to think that, at this very moment in time, something as horrific as war is raging in force much more violent and in places much closer than most of us have experienced in our lives. I believe that all of these should instill in all of us a newfound sense of responsibility. Throughout my years at GeMUN, we have always referred to ourselves as the new generation, entrusted with the task of improving things for us and for others. Now is the time to truly fulfill that responsibility. Through our debates and discussions, let us produce tangible results that can make a difference in the life of these suffering. With the weight of these important issues on our shoulders, it is now time for me to come to a conclusion. I hope that the topics we have chosen for you to debate hit the spot and will inspire engaging exchanges of views. I am convinced that these discussions will in every case nest many great ideas. With this hope in my heart, I wish everyone the best of luck and fruitful debates. I am thrilled to be able to witness them as a spectator. I yield the floor back to the Mistress of Ceremony.
Thank you, Matteo. I'm now honored to give the floor to one of the Undersecretary General of GeMUN 2024, Emma Christensen. You have the floor.
My dearest colleagues of this year's Secretariat, indispensable heads and members of staff, security and press, hard-working delegates, honorable chairs, dear guests and MUN directors, good afternoon. As you just heard, I'm Emma Christensen, and it is a great honor for me to be serving as an Undersecretary General in this year's GeMUN conference. My first observation while starting to plan this speech was that finding a way to begin a speech is almost as hard as taking action for the first time. Somehow, as humans, we tend to wait for the perfect impact, the perfect sentence to initiate a speech, the perfect moment to take action. We wait for the moment in which we're finally perfectly ready to start. The reality of it all is that there is no perfect moment, mindset, context, thought, or word. Speeches and actions get along very well in comparisons, also because no matter if the first step you have to take is the first you've ever taken, or it is the 100th first step you take, you still need an impulse to begin. Some of us young people struggle to begin because we fear we might not have the means to make a change, because we think we might not have the experience it takes, because we think our voices might not matter right now, because we think we're far too young to begin. What we must realize as we grow up is that as much there's not a perfect way to begin, there's also no perfect time to begin. As young people, we often feel like we have major responsibilities to change the world for the better, but very few means to act upon them. However, it is in contexts like the one we will live in the next few days that we need to practice how to change this world for the better. Which does not mean each one of us has to change the whole wide world completely, but it does mean that each one of us needs to contribute to the change and improvements that we want to see in the world around us. We are change, and we are tomorrow's world. Take a look at the topics of this 21st conference. No matter if directly mentioning youth or not, there's not a single topic that does not concern us. We work hard not only to present to you a quality conference capable of stimulating great resolutions and debates, but also to create a space in which we as in youth, could discuss issues which in one way or another matter and concern us. I would like to conclude my speech by thanking all those who have worked really hard and collaborated on this enormous project. Most importantly, because without collaboration, dedication, and hard work, we wouldn't have been able to create such a special conference, which I hope to see flourish in the next 2 days. Amongst those who work really hard, I want to rapidly name a few, because some of you won't get to make a speech this year, but I'm extremely convinced that each single one of you would deserve as much stage time as I do right now. Therefore, in alphabetical order, so nobody gets offended, Agia, Alessandra, Alex, Alice, Anita, Arturo, Aurora, Beatrice, Bianca, Chiara, Costanza, Davide, Elisabetta, Eleonora, Elena, Elisa, Emma, Fabiola, Francesca, Francesco, Giorgia, Ginevra, Giorgia, Giovanni, Giulia, Irene, Iris, Kine, Cora, Cristina, Maia, Marianna, Marta, Martina, Martina, Matilda, Matteo, Sasha, Sara, Sara, Serena, Samuele, Silvia, Sofia, Sof, Tommaso, Viola, Vittoria, Zinni, Zoe. Thank you all for your efforts, your perseverance, and your Friday afternoons. I feel grateful for the journey we shared. And of course, thank you to our wonderful MEN directors, Prof. Orlando and Prof. Lozada. Thank you for your immense patience with us. I say we shall all give our final best during these last few days. But most importantly, let's give ourselves another round of applause. We deserve it. So I thank you very much. I wish you a pleasant conference, and I yield the floor back to the Mistress of Ceremony.
Thank you, Emma. I will now give the floor to the co-president of the General Assembly of GeMUN 2024, Mr. Agia Tigrino. You have the floor.
Honorable delegates, visitors, members of the ICJ, and working members of staff, security, and press, good afternoon. And good afternoon to you, esteemed officers, MEN directors, and fellow members of the Secretariat. As you just heard, my name is Agia Tigrino. I am a fourth-year student at Liceo de Ledda, and I will be serving as co-president of the General Assembly for GeMUN 2024. As always, it is a great honor to be here and to be able to share such a fulfilling and unique experience with so many people from different countries, backgrounds, and most of all with different thoughts, opinions, and perspectives on today's continuously changing world. During my first GeMUN as a delegate, I had the opportunity to come into contact with all these differences firsthand, debating and cooperating with other delegates and beginning to get accustomed to GeMUN's atmosphere. An atmosphere of multicultural interactions and continuous exchange among young and brilliant minds. This experience allowed me to open up to new perspectives, not only limited to the topics I was debating, but also to my own personal views on the world around me, which I was only beginning to understand in its full complexity. However, I found that it was only during my second conference, serving as a chair for the UNEA committee, that I fully began to grasp the true meaning of GeMUN. By observing and managing the debate with a more impartial eye, I was able to notice even the smallest interactions and dynamics between the delegates debating in my conference, watching their behaviors adapt to the situation at hand, noticing the relationships growing and strengthening, and witnessing their outstanding and brilliant contributions, making the debate evolve into something from which they could all learn and get something. In addition to this, having to cooperate with my fellow chairs who taught me the importance of trust and partnership and who stood by my side during the arising of any kind of sort of complication is what truly made me fall in love with GeMUN, with what GeMUN truly is, with the way it always provides its participants with the means to learn, grow, and shape themselves into true citizens of the world, an opportunity that is not easily earned for members of the new generation today. And today, here with all of you, as the co-president of the General Assembly, I especially look forward to this year's plenary session of the General Assembly, which will take place on the last day of GeMUN and will bring together all the delegates from each GA committee. We will have to join forces with other members of their delegations and to face an even more intense and fruitful debate. As you all can imagine, me and my fellow president of the General Assembly, Davide Magliano, have worked hard and will continue to do so to ensure that this year's plenary assembly continues its years-long tradition of cooperation and provides hours of fruitful debate for each one of the hundreds of delegates who will be implied. However, our efforts are not limited to the General Assembly, of course. I'm sure all of you are aware that allowing an event such as this to happen requires significant amounts of time, effort, and most of all, dedication. This dedication comes not just from me and my fellow members of the Secretariat, for whom I'm extremely grateful for, but also from each delegate willing to stand up for their delegation during a debate, from each member of staff and security, striving to ensure that each conference can take place in the best environment possible, also from each our working officer, willing to manage and mediate any debates, and from each member of the press, always present to document and keep a record of each conference. I am truly grateful from the bottom of my heart to each one of you who is here today. And if, like Emma, I could thank every single one of you, I would for sure. I yield the floor back to the Mistress of Ceremony.
Thank you, Age. It is now my pleasure to give the floor to the President of the International Court of Justice of GeMUN 2024, Emma Carbone.
Honorable Mistress of Ceremony, Secretary and Undersecretary Generals, MUN Directors, officers, distinguished guests, esteemed delegates, indispensable members of staff, security, and press, fellow members of the ICJ, good afternoon. I'm Emma Carbone, and I'm currently attending my 5th and sadly last year at Liceo di Ledda. This year, I'm serving as the President of the International Court of Justice, with Elisabetta Salvi as the co-president and Anna De Ponti as the registrar. I'm at a loss of words when it comes to expressing my excitement and pride to be here today. It's so inspiring to see so many people sitting in this room, all together with a common goal. It makes me realize that I'm part of something extremely important and unique that we must be proud to carry on. Deeply honored to cover this role, I feel like I have the responsibility of unveiling an aura of mystery that is permanently cast around the ICJ and explain in brief what goes on in our conference, as the former presidents did before me. Our ICJ aims to discuss the unsolved cases of the real International Court of Justice and tries to find lawful solutions to the latter. The advocates provide the judges with documents, evidence, and information of any kind that might be useful to prove their party's point. The judges then have the duty to analyze all the materials they are provided with in order to reach a fair verdict. Nothing of this would be possible without them all. I want to thank each and every judge and advocate for accepting the challenge that ICJ consists of, and for making this last year one of the best ones.
I also want to thank Betta and Anna for being the best colleagues I could ever have asked for. And thank you for the memories we have created together. There's one more person I would like to thank, that is Georgia, that has always been by my side as the former president of the ICJ. This year, the case we will be discussing regards a delicate topic. Making this decision was difficult in the first place, but later we were startled by unexpected news. As some of you might know, South Africa submitted an application against Israel, accusing the country of breaching several articles of the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. Just about a week before this happened, Beta and I had chosen a case on the exact same matter. The case we will be discussing is, in fact, the application of the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, submitted by Gambia against Myanmar. The International Court of Justice is witness and mediator of many international disputes which arise in several countries for disparate reasons. And for that, I believe it's important to analyze the situations that we come across with an impartial approach. It's wrong to come to conclusions without further research. It's crucial to be open-minded when building opinions and to remember that, especially on the legal side, we are all equal. As the Taoists remind us, in good, there is always a small portion of evil, but also in evil, we can find something good. And we must not forget that, even when a situation seems crystal clear. I wish you all a memorable GeMUN experience. Thank you. I yield the floor back to the Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Emma. I'm deeply honored to now welcome the Liceo Musicale Sandro Pertini's musical ensemble.
Hello, good morning. I present to you the Pertini Vocal Ensemble, which is a choir composed of students from from first to fifth grade, high school. And it's a choir who has been in various places in the world already. For example, in the Italian Constitute in San Francisco, in New York, they've been to Romania, and in many other places, and we're still organizing other trips. We're here to sing a few pieces in different languages, including Latin, Spanish, and what you just heard as well was English, and that's it.
Thank you, students, for your remarkable performance. I will now give the floor to the project manager of our charity partner help program, Guglielmo Barbetta. Mr. Barbetta, the floor is yours.
Hi everyone, Guten Morgen, Merhaba, because they told me that here in the room there are classes from America, from Turkey, from Germany, and Italy also, of course. So welcome all of you. My name is Guglielmo Maria. I'm 23 years old, and I'm project coordinator at HelpCode, the NGO charity partner of this beautiful initiative. First of all, I want to immediately start by talking to you about a project that I coordinated and which ended just yesterday with an evaluation mission that my colleagues and I carry out on Bucharest, which I suggest you to visit. So next slide, please. Yes. The ES GeMUN, this is the name of the project. As you can see, engage, connect, empower, 3 key words of this project. The ES GeMUN project brought together 1,000 young Europeans together. 5 partners have created a space for dialogue between these young people with activities in 4 different countries. France, in Bordeaux and Ville de Saint-Denis, close to Paris. Italy, in Genoa. In Belgium, in Brussels. And in Romania, in Bucharest. Each partner created a panel of young people to create a sort of, let's call it, guiding group. In Italy, in Genoa, HelpCode identified a group made up of 10 young people, 6 girls and 4 boys, motivated and interested in the themes of the project. Okay. Thank you. HelpCode accompanied this group on a training and awareness-raising journey from March to December 2023 on one of the following topics, freely chosen by young people: active citizenship, gender equality, climate change, interculture, discrimination, racial or gender, international cooperation, and European mobility. The theme chosen by the majority of young people from all the 4 participant countries was racial discrimination. So I leave you all to reflect on the reason of this choice. Maybe it's time for a change. Maybe it's time to speak up. Maybe it's time to make our voice heard. During the training course, the young people met representatives of local institutions and had virtual exchanges with other young people from the European cities involved. The training course made it possible to prepare the contents that we presented by the young people themselves during an active citizenship event in Brussels from the 30th of November to the 1st December, the so-called GeMUN G1000 Summit. The event allowed us to meet leaders of the European institutions and other representatives in a moment of dialogue and active participation. The objective of the project achieved through a participatory approach were create a network of European organizations, develop tools to promote suitable European policies, create spaces for expression and dialogue between youth workers. And regarding this point, I'm really happy to show you a few minutes of the documentary we created together with our young participants for the project, interviewing some personalities from our streets on the issues of marginality and discrimination.
Ogni volta lo fa da capo.
We have some audio issues, I think.
Ok.
Dici motore partito.
Motore partito.
Tu devi dire audio partito.
Audio partito.
Se è partito. Quindi dopo. No.
Sta registrando, ok. Ok, più mobile così, ok. Su cosa farete la vostra ricerca?
Cercheremo di fare domande il più possibile sul tema della marginalità e della giustizia, giustizia sociale all'interno della città.
Come siete organizzate tra di voi?
Io farò le riprese, almeno all'inizio.
Io farò domande audio.
Mentre io invece sono il microfonista.
Garibaldi, blasonata, strada nuova, anche via Garibaldi, una strada nuova che era la via dei nobili, ma non solo dei nobili, perché poi qui ci passavano i carri con la frutta e la verdura, ci passavano i contadini che venivano dall'entroterra, quindi non è poi così, il blasone c'è, indubbiamente evidente dal 600 in poi, però era una via con un contesto massimo di popolarità, di vita. Il parallelo indubbiamente sociale e popolare era ed è la Maddalena. Ancora oggi c'è questo distinguo, addirittura voi ovviamente sappiamo tutti, c'è questa presunta legalità che secondo me ha un senso rapportata da Fabrizio De André in tante sue canzoni sulla prostituzione, cioè è illegale ma è legale contemporaneamente. Un'ipocrisia però bella, se vogliamo, no? Ipocrisia dove le leggi sono superate dalle regole di vita da sempre. Poi purtroppo ci sono storie brutte sulla prostituzione, niente da dire, però è una missione bellissima questa sinergia, un po' ritornando al Giano che mi dicevi prima, di guardare da entrambe le parti, Occidente e Oriente, guardare il povero, guardare il ricco, e questo dovrebbe essere un distinguo che non sempre viene mantenuto, ma che sarebbe bellissimo.
Okay, so this is a short part of the beautiful work done by the young people. As you can see, some from the Leda High School. We will soon upload the entire documentary, 35 minutes long, to our YouTube channel, and we will try to present it at some events. So now let me briefly explain who we are. So since 1988, we have been working as HelpCode to make real, every day, with innovative methods and tools, the rights to education, health, protection, and nutrition of girls and boys living around the world. Their physical and intellectual well-being and their growth is the basis of all our interventions, because we believe that this is the only suitable and sustainable investment to guarantee life, dignity, and real change for all communities. Girls and boys are the most affected people in every vulnerable community and in an emergency situation, but for us, they are also and above all the force and the engine of tomorrow. Action, gender equality, courage, and transparency identify our actions. Thank you. So, where we are? We are in Italy, of course. We are in Switzerland. We are in Mozambique, which is the country we have been in for more than 35 years. In Nepal, in Cambodia, in Democratic Republic of Congo, in Libya, in Tunisia, in Yemen, and Ukraine, where we have been operating since the Russian invasion in 2022. We work in development cooperation and emergency. We work for the protection of children's rights. Thank you. For the environment, the health and the well-being of communities, and of course, for quality education. Because you have to remember, quality education, like access to water, and like all the other rights that we often take for granted, are not a luxury. They are human rights. To continue our effort, remember to support us with volunteer actions, donating your time, consulting our website. There are many opportunities, especially for motivated young people like you. To conclude, you can go to the last, yes. To conclude, don't forget that the focus of these initiatives is the exchange of ideas between young people. So I say to you, take advantage of this opportunity and make yourself heard. And I had a suggestion for your next activities and for the objectives that you must achieve after these days of work. Given the times we are living in, remember that, as Albert Einstein said, killing under the cloth of war is nothing but an act of murder. So put all your effort into seeking peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barbetta, for your speech. We'll now entertain a video prepared by the GeMUN press team regarding the main events of the year.
I officially declare this 20th session of GeMUN over.
Epilepsy. epilepsy. Epilepsy.
Thank you, press team, for having prepared this video. It is now my pleasure to give the floor to the GeMUN director, Daniele Orlando. Mr. Director, you have the floor.
Dear guests and participants, it is with utmost joy and pride that I welcome you and express my gratitude for participating in the 21st edition of GeMUN. While there is an endless list of thank yous to be made for the success of a conference, today I only want to make one, and that is to all of you. Over 400 young women and young men from Italy, Europe, and all around the world who have embraced the role of adults for a couple of days and are already doing a much better job than the real ones. You truly are an inspiration, so with the permission of the Mistress of Ceremony, please give yourself a huge round of applause. Thank you to my wonderful students. Thank you to our 4 assistants, Bianca, Elisa, Francesca, and Marta, for saving the day every single day. And finally, a heartfelt thank you to the people seated at this table. Matteo, you have led an amazing team just by being the incredible human being that you are. So thank you. GeMUN and I are going to miss you terribly. Okay, back to business. I don't think many of you know, maybe no one at all, that the title for this year's conference, Generation Next, actually comes from a 1997 song by none other than the Spice Girls. It served as a promotional campaign for a very famous fizzy drink at the time. The verse goes, "It's a celebration, motivation, generation next. We are sowing the seeds, every color, every creed. Teach, never preach, listen up and take heed." It sounds almost poetic when you read it like that, but in true Spice Girls fashion, it's actually a very powerful message of positivity and activism. Oh, the Spice Girls, you have no idea. You don't know what it means to feel heartbroken unless you were a kid in the 90s and on May 31st, 1998, as you were coming back home from school, you came to the announcement that Ginger Spice, Jerry Halliwell, had left the Spice Girls. The world stopped turning, planes fell out of the skies, residents made their way to bomb shelters to prepare for the end of the Spice World. All of the values of girl power and friendship never ending, just gone. It was the end of the world as we know it. But it's heartbreaking. But what do you know about heartbreak? The only thing that might come close for you is when One Direction announced their hiatus, but at least we got Harry Styles out of it. So yeah, what do you know about heartbreak? It's not like in the last 3 years, the world as we knew it actually shuttered with a global pandemic, a war or two. And it's not like you would care anyways, your Generation Z, after all. And to be precise, I keep on saying you, but rest assured, my generation, the millennials, is just as hated by the elderly. But today the focus is all on you little monsters, self-absorbed, who expect everyone to come at your feet and for your parents to clean up your rooms well into your 20s. You are a generation that lives behind your screens, applying beauty filters, believing influencers, playing video games and watching too much porn. From complaints that you are both too cautious and downright dangerous, too worried about the future, and at the same time too self-absorbed to even care. All the people love to gripe about the lazy and entitled youth. But it's nothing new. If you delve into the archives, you will see there are so many parallels stretching as far back as 700 before Christ with Hesiod, the Greek poet, and so many others. As if every generation had been born parentless, in a remote vitriol removed from current culture and values not raised by their predecessors. To be fair, if you ask me, I don't actually believe the youth is ever as bad as the elderly make it out to be. I just think that they compare kids these days to a very romanticized memory from their past. And yet, what do I know? What do you know? Ever since I became an uncle 3 years ago, I find myself quite often wondering, what kind of world are we living for the future? Is this mess the world I envision for my baby boy? And when I think about that, all I can think about is, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that we live in a world that is unpredictable, a world that we're full of uncertainties that force you to rethink your future. I'm sorry we live in a world that is too hot, that is melting, that is burning down, with no serious policy focus from world leaders. I'm sorry we live in a world where a woman is killed every 11th second by her partner for the simple reason that she's a woman. I'm sorry that people are still being judged for being comfortable in their own bodies after all of the sexual revolutions that our parents had to fight for. I'm sorry we live in an age where seeing the world around us has become a luxury for few, while the rest still struggle to find stable employment and are more likely to afford avocados than proper education or a house of their own. I'm sorry we live in constant information overload where everything lasts but a second and everyone always thinks they know better than you. It's a world of addiction, stress, and anxiety under the pressure of always having to perform better than anyone else. I'm sorry we live in a world where we still need the Pope's approval to decide what to do with our bodies and with our lives. I'm sorry we live in a world where it's still not acceptable to love who we love. And these are just third world problems. I find it very convenient that all of these very self-referential politicians and authorities remind you of your responsibilities for the future. You are the voice of the future, which I think you are. But what about the present? I only see you, young people, get into the streets to fight for the planet. I only see you on social media fighting the patriarchy. I only hear you screaming, "Stop the genocide." But your words are censored on the internet, your peaceful protests are constantly obstructed by police brutality. I live in a country where if you go to the theater and shout, "Long live anti-fascist Italy," you are identified by the police. But if you go to a neo-fascist gathering with Roman salutes and banners, you are not. It only makes sense if you feel overwhelmed and disheartened by all of these challenges. I am sorry. And it is a terrible world. And yet, it's a wonderful world. It's a world of opportunities, however hard they might appear. Oh, you have the power of time in your hands. You are the voice of the future, yes you are, but you are the voice of the present. Your empathy and awareness today are going to be crucial for a better world. So don't you ever get discouraged by the idea that this is the way it is and there is nothing you can do to change things. Let's continue to strive for progress and justice together. We were not made to fall in line. So keep making your voice heard and always stand on the right side of history. Do it for yourself, for your future selves, and do it for those who don't have the same luck, the same privilege to be in that position. Get angry and fight for your rights and for those who cannot fight. But don't go to war for that. You have words, use them wisely. Dialogue, diplomacy, if you wish, is always the answer. So maybe do it for Hind Rajab, who was only 6 years old, and now will never have the chance to be young. Because most importantly, what I wish for you is to be young. Like Oscar Wilde would say, I hope you live the wonderful life that is in you. I wish you would stop worrying about the future and think about it with optimism. I hope you embrace being light and content. I hope you laugh about nothing and find beauty in the smallest of things. I hope you love all imperfections and wear the colors of the world. I hope you fall in love madly and maybe get your heart broken and grow from it. I hope you find amazing friends who protect you and nurture you and love you for who you are. I hope you have good families who listen to you and good teachers that see you. I wish you never feel lost, but if you do, I hope that you know that it's okay and that will be all right. I hope you make mistakes and learn from them. I hope you give yourself time to figure out who you are and to decide what type of person you want to be. I wish for you to be kind and for life to treat you kindly. And I hope you dream big. I hope you do much, much better than we did. I hope you are free. I wish for you to study and get informed because this is how you become free. I wish you to learn every day, in every minor detail, in every book that you read, in every song that you sing, in every word that you hear, and from every soul that you meet. It is such a wonderful world, and it doesn't go backwards, it only goes forwards. So be young and enjoy it. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I yield the floor back to the mistress of ceremony.
Thank you, Mr. Orlando, for your inspiring speech. We'll now entertain the opening speeches of the following delegations. Delegation of Armenia, Brazil, China, Ecuador, Israel, Italy, Jamaica, Laos, Mexico, Nigeria, Palestine, Republic of Korea, Sierra Leone, South Africa, United Kingdom. You have the floor in this order. Armenia, you have the floor. Please, everybody, approach the podium.
Fellow colleagues and distinguished guests, it's a pleasure for the delegation of Armenia to welcome you and take part in GeMUN 2024. We hope that all the delegates will engage in relevant debates in order to make this conference productive. This year, we will talk about important topics such as social commitment, impacts of economic situations and worldwide population growth, cultural and physical decolonization of countries, women's rights, workplace and AI, conflicts, crises, and countries' disputes around the globe. We should all engage in trying to find solutions for all these issues, even if they seem far from our concerns, keeping in mind that our lives represent only a step of the Earth's life, and it is our duty to deliver a better scenario to the next generations. Once, it has been stated that challenges are for everyone, and it's how we deal with them that makes us stand out. Delegates, Armenia wishes you all a successful and amusing debate.
Thank you, Delegate. Delegation of Brazil, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, fellow delegates and honorable chair. The neo-colonialist dynamics between Brazil and economic superpowers requires immediate United Nations attention to establish frameworks ensuring sovereignty practices. Concurring this historical injustices against African Brazilians requires legislative measures that will promote the equality and diversity that Brazil desperately needs. Brazil has taken measures that combat the systematic exploitation of women, including revisions of legislation and collaborative within civil rights to promote gender equality. Additionally, Brazil's former legislation must be revised to ensure women's rights in avoiding any abuses of these rights. On the issue of artificial intelligence, Brazil strongly advocates for global framework to promote ethical use. Furthermore, tackling inflation will demand monetary policies and global cooperation. Finally, addressing food security will need comprehensive social programs and international cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Delegation of China, you have the floor.
Honorable MUN directors and members of the Secretariat, dear officers and members of the International Court of Justice, fellow delegates, distinguished guests, indispensable members of staff, security, and press, good afternoon. It is our pleasure and deep honor to be here today as the representatives of the People's Republic of China. This year's theme, Generation Next, encapsulates the essence of progress and innovation. In a world that is constantly changing and is damaged by a considerable amount of problems, cooperation is the key. China is an extended country which includes many different cultures, but we are a united and a strong nation. And this is exactly the message we want to pass and the purpose of this debate, establishing connection and collaboration between all countries. We sincerely hope that these debate sessions will be fruitful and interesting in the spirit of harmony and mutual respect. As an ancient Chinese proverb goes, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. So let this conference be our collective step towards a better future. And we now yield the floor back to the Mistress of Ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Delegation of Ecuador, you have the floor. And please, other delegations, stand on our left side and wait for your speech to have.
Dear participants of GeMUN and guests, good afternoon. It is my honor to represent the country of Ecuador in Security Council in the annual session of GeMUN United Nations. Regarding this year's general topic, we out to share our enthusiasm about the importance of empowering youth globally,
And more specifically, we want to include all countries to support young people in today's world, since they represent the very essence of innovation, passion, and possibility. And because of this, it is our collective responsibility to provide them with the tools and opportunities they need to thrive. I am looking forward to starting our hopefully animated debate in Security Council, and above all, I expect us to leave this debate with a renewed sense of purpose and optimism, while surpassing our political differences through dialogue and mutual respect. Let's pursue to inspire hope for a better future. I wish you all a fruitful debate. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Delegation of Israel, you have the floor.
Honorable chairs, fellow delegates, esteemed members of staff and security, hardworking press, and distinguished guests present today, the delegation of Israel would like to formally welcome you to the 21st edition of the GeMUN conference held here in Genova, and like to especially thank all participants who have traveled here to get here and are making this an even more memorable experience. Our delegation would like to encourage not only all delegates, but all members of this conference present to adhere to the UN Charter established in 1945. We urge to maintain diplomacy, although many of us want to lash out, and rightly so, due to all conflicts happening today as we speak. We must remember how diplomacy is the ideal and key concept from which the UN was founded, and the tool we are honing that hopefully will help us make better decisions when it will be our turn. Generation Next as a topic is something we encounter every day, and debating what this means through the different committees is something of value for our growth as future generations and future leaders of our world. We do indeed believe that it is important to shape a better world and a better environment for us and our future generations, and that we must learn from the mistakes of the past and learn. Israel is implementing sustainability throughout all aspects of our society to bring this. This conference is an opportunity to bring together the future leaders of the world that will eventually shape our society, and that responsibility is enormous if you consider all factors and the mess that's been made by the current leaders. A big thank you to the Secretariat and all who have worked very hard to make this conference a reality, and we wish a happy stay for all delegates from Italy and abroad, and a successful conference to everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Delegate. Delegation of Italy, you have the floor.
Honorable Chair and fellow delegates, Italy, as a beacon of culture, diplomacy, innovation, and a proud member of international organizations such as NATO, the European Union, and OECD, keep an unwavering distance in being one of the torchbearers in safeguarding values of equality and freedom. With a rich history of fostering positive dialogue between nations, we are committed to finding sustainable solutions to the challenges we face today. Our nation, situated at the crossroads of Europe, has acted as a bridge between different cultures and perspectives that we will apply on matters ranging from human rights to economic development. The valued diplomatic principles of Italy are based on respect for international law. We believe the power of dialogue to be the most effective way of driving cooperation between states and resolving conflicts. With the debate that awaits, we wish all the delegates good luck and look forward to finding solutions to the situations being discussed. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Delegation of Jamaica, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm the Jamaican delegate for this year's GeMUN, and I'm honored to be here to represent this beautiful Caribbean island. I hope we will be able to understand and find some resolutions and answers to the issues we will be facing over the next couple of days. I'm looking forward to learn something new about other countries' cultures and to meet new friends. And above all, have fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Delegation of Laos, you have the floor.
Honorable authorities and keynote speakers, members of the Secretariat, respected fellow delegates, MUN directors, distinguished and respected guests, The delegation of the Lao People's Democratic Republic is incredibly privileged to attend this conference. As one of the youngest populations in Southeast Asia, with nearly 60% of the inhabitants below 25 years, we acknowledge the great potential of our youths as they are the future leaders of the country and will have a vital role in nation building and economic development. We firmly believe that the alarming, spiraling crisis our country is going through can be overcome through greater investment in education so that young people can forge new paths to sustainable growth and inclusive prosperity. Therefore, embracing the spirit of unity embedded in the UN Charter, let us navigate the complexities of the global landscape with wisdom, empathy, and a shared commitment to a better world for everyone. We sincerely hope we will find common ground together. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Delegation of Mexico, you have the floor.
Honorable Secretariat, distinguished guests, as the delegate of Mexico, I stand before you today to address the pressing issues that affect us as young individuals and to advocate for innovative solutions that can reshape our future. From climate change to economic inequality, from social injustice to mental health challenges, the hurdles we face are vast and complex. However, in the face of adversity, we must not succumb to despair. Instead, we must harness our creativity, resilience, and collective intelligence to reimagine our responses. In Mexico, we are no strangers to adversity, yet we are also a nation rich in culture, diversity, and ingenuity. We believe that by embracing our unique strengths and perspectives, that by embracing it, we can pave the way for transformative change. Together, let us embrace the spirit of innovation and collaboration. Let us dare to dream, to challenge the status quo, and to build a brighter future for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Delegation of Nigeria, you have the floor.
Good morning, everyone. Greetings to the honorable chairs, to the organizers, to my fellow delegates. I am the delegate of Nigeria, and today I speak to you as an equal would, as a human. I'm not here just as a delegate. I'm here because I want to leave something which I'm not even sure what it is. But I just want to talk. I just want to tell you that sometimes the easy way is not the right way. And as we gather today to discuss the future of our nations, we gather as equals, and as equal we speak, we must realize that youth is the coming of age of humanity, the most important asset for our world. Yet, we watch it crumble away, stride away, and surrender under the weight of the choices of the people that were the capes of guardians, the guardians of children and young people. We ought to give to the new generation a new way of living, a better way of living, something more than what we got in our days. We have to rekindle the kind spirit of humanity, and through that, try to achieve something better, something that is now so far off in the distance that can't even be seen, something that we can't even grasp, something that we have to learn. And so I just talk to you and ask you to think, what is it that you want? What is it that you're striving for? Think about it and try to earn it, because you will earn it. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Delegation of Palestine, you have the floor.
Good morning, everyone. The delegation of Palestine is honored to be here today and participate in this important discussion. The YAF have a significant role in bringing about positive change and rebuilding their communities after such challenging times. By empowering them with education, opportunities, and resources, we can help them overcome the consequences of war and work towards a more peaceful and prosperous future. It is crucial to shed light on the realities and experiences of our people, as it provides a deeper understanding of the urgency for peace and stability in our region. By sharing our insights, we hope to foster dialogue, collaboration, and ultimately work towards a future where conflicts are resolved peacefully. Together, let's strive for a world where all nations can coexist in harmony and prosperity. Thank you, everyone. We thank every member of this conference for having us here, and let's make a difference together.
Thank you, Delegate. Delegation of Republic of Korea, you have the floor.
Honorable Secretary General, fellow delegates, and dear press. As a delegation of Republic of Korea, we would like to welcome you all to the GeMUN conference. Within these 3 days, in each committee, we will be discussing very up-to-date and critical issues and hoping to find solution ideas for them. As an active member of UN, within and out of our borders, we will always be applying and supporting the sustainability goals of UN. Because we wish for a clean world with our forests on it. Because we dream for a world where nobody needs to worry about their next meal. Because we promise for a world where every human being is well and equal. In short, we will always be working for the peace and justice for everyone. And in this conference, we will be doing just that. Thank you all for listening. We wish everyone a good conference. We yield the floor back to the ministers of the ceremony.
Thank you, Delegate. Delegation of Sierra Leone, the floor is yours.
Esteemed Secretary General and Secretariat, honorable chairs and fellow delegates, and most distinguished guests. The delegation of Sierra Leone is honored to have been chosen to hold this speech during the opening ceremony of GeMUN 2024. Like each year, the topics that will be discussed have a worldwide importance and need to be quickly solved before they turn into something more dramatic. If someone is capable of doing so, of finding ways to make the world slightly better, it's us, our generation, the youth. That is why we invite you to be as active as possible in the conferences, but also to have fun, because this is an unforgettable experience that prepares you for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Delegation of South Africa, you have the floor.
Honorable chairs, fellow delegates, and distinguished guests. What kind of world do we want the next generation to live in? The last generations have left us with an uncertain battle with climate change, AI and privacy questions, and devastating, never-ending conflicts. And we have been left to pick up the pieces and try to solve these issues. But how will we get there? Although there have been many advancements and developments to help slow the impact of these dilemmas, they continue to influence our day-to-day lives and will continue to do so as long as we don't take action. Our generation is the first to experience the effects of the many mistakes made by previous generations, and unless something is done, not only will our children have to experience them too, but they might also not survive them. Now, what do we have to do as the Earth's last hope so that our descendants can live free of this generational burden? Are we ready to come together and use our skills and ideas to create a better world for the next generation? Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Delegation of United Kingdom, you have the floor.
One minute, all right. Honorable members of the board, distinguished guests, dear staff, and fellow delegates. I wish I could fill this 1-minute speech with words of hope and prosperity, but the reality is that I would simply lie before of the historical context we're currently living in. The presence of growing global issues such as climate change, the economic crisis, and the ongoing geopolitical disputes do not allow me morally to simply encourage international cooperation and support. That would be, frankly, too obvious. What I can do, fellow delegates, is invite you all to a moment of reflection. Reflect on the role of your country before the global challenges. Reflect on prioritizing international interests before national ones. And lastly, reflect on the very reason why you're here, in this very exact place, where diplomacy and dialogue find their home. Ladies and gentlemen, and with this I conclude, my holy hope retains in you. Do not waste the chance you're given to define history. Thank you.
Thank you, delegates, for your inspiring speeches. It is now my pleasure to give the floor back to the Secretary General of GeMUN 2024, Matteo Marinucci.
I hereby declare the GeMUN 2024 open.
Thank you. I would like to thank again, on behalf of the whole Secretariat, all authorities, guests, and keynote speakers that joined us today. And I would like to wish all officers, delegates, MUN directors, staff, press, and security members, and all others a wonderful GeMUN 2024. This concludes the official opening ceremony of the 21st Annual Session of General Model United Nations.